Hey everybody, so welcome to part 2 of my Mardi Gras travel album. And as you can see, I pulled out some of my embossing folders and die cuts, and I wanted to make a few embellishments to sprinkle through this album. And I didn't have many Louisiana or Mardi Gras specific embellishments, so I decided to just make a few that had like fleur-de-lis and flourishes and crowns and things I could find, and then also using some more sparkle paper and stuff. I also noticed in looking back at my past pages that they just were a little bland. There just wasn't a lot of color. I think I got too much concentrated on the purple, green, and gold, and it needs some more color, some different colors added in there. So I decided to sprinkle some of these flourishes, also some of the blue dogs, and from a gallery that I went and saw while I was there, and I'll talk about that later. But essentially I went online. I was able to find some blue dogs, and as you can see kind of in the upper right hand corner, like the Preservation Hall Jazz Band logo. I tried to find a lot of different logos from there and stuff like that I could print out and sprinkle through. Of course, this is all for just my own use. So I also pulled out found online some more vintage postcards and other things. Here's some of the blue dogs, some beads. Let's see, what else did I find? Oh, I found some stickers because we went into Mississippi, and I'll probably never get to use the Mississippi State sticker again, or at least not for a long, long time. So I pulled that out, and I'll pull out Louisiana. And I found more bling in different colors. And so this is where this next page, this is what I'm going to work on. And I did a little bit. I've got my ticket stub with some washi tape and bling, and one of the theme-specific New Orleans stickers on there. I've got the fish mounted with a little bit of green sparkle tape, a few puffy stickers that I put on there, my ticket stub for the IMAX, and I did go back to a couple pages and sprinkle, some more blue dogs in the pages I did previous. And I'll do a flip through of the complete album at the very end. So if you don't want to watch these process videos, feel free to just wait, and I will put a flip through at the very end for you to look through, because I know not everybody's got the time to sit and watch someone else craft. So anyhow, I'm mounting these jellyfish on some gold yellow colored cardstock, and I'm just using a little bit of Recollections purple stripe washi tape. And then I have some green star washi tape. I don't know what brand that is. And I'm going to there you can see on that previous page from my previous video, I did add a blue dog, and I added a flare with a shamrock on it, or a clover, because I was there during St. Patrick's Day. So I decided to kind of go with some St. Patrick's Day themed things that I had in my stash. And then I go ahead and I make this filler card that I want to journal on or use for my journaling. And I go ahead and I put extra stickers and stuff, but I wind up not using it. I don't know why. When I put it in there, it just, I don't know, maybe there was too much orange or something, but I'll probably use it farther along in the album. So I'm just looking through my little cut and paste word stickers, a lot of these little label stickers, and just pulling out a few here. Just trying to decorate this card a little bit and bring in more of, my stash and supplies into this project. Got some ormolues, some of my Scraptastic cut-aparts, some Julie Bean soup. This, I believe, is from my Scraptastic kit. And I love these little tabs and stuff for layering. They just work so well. I'm thinking about going back and just cutting them all out. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Mercy Tara cuts hers all out. I try to leave my sheets connected as much as possible. But I'm not sure which way would be better. I guess it depends on how you scrapbook. So I'm just going to adhere this little tab down. And I've got a little heart banner. It's a little too large because I didn't want to use up my real estate for journaling. And I forgot that I had zoomed in to show the embossing folders and dies, so I just zoomed back out. And so I did that, and I think that's all I do for that card at this time. I'm thinking about putting it right there, but like I said, it moves later. And you can see I'm thinking. And some of these, I just didn't have a lot of pictures, so I do need the filler cards. And I'm thinking how I'm going to bring in some more color. And I don't know quite yet what background to put the blue dog on. So I'm going to go through a couple of cards here just to see what colors I like. And I'm skipping around in this album a little bit more than I thought I would. So I'll probably have parts of pages pre-done, and like I said, I'll either go through and then like this one kind of go through what I already have done and then finish the page on video, and then at the end I'll do the flip through. And there I decided that I just didn't like that card I just created, at least not right in that spot. So I go ahead and use this one. And I'm going to use one of the flourishes that I die cut with my Big Shot. And I'm still looking for a card to put in that one, and I think that's the card I go ahead with. Gives me lots of real estate to journal about the aquarium and the theater. So I think that's all I do for those two spots, and I just need to mat the snake onto some cardstock. And my pictures are all kinds of different sizes. First of all, back in the day when you used your camera and submitted the roll of film for processing, you could pick one of two sizes, and then you could pick if you wanted doubles or not. And I think that both my sister-in-law and I had our photos developed, and we had doubles made so that we could split them and, each give half of our photos to the other. And I probably had mine processed in one size. She probably had hers processed in another. And so when I scanned these in, the sizes range all over the place. And then a lot of them, because I couldn't zoom in very much with that camera, a lot of them I just cropped down. And here I am. I'm just putting a little washi tape over the top of these because they have a tendency to want to fall out of the top, and I get frustrated with that. So I just put a little tape here to hold those on for now until I'm done. And when I finally finish, I use like my little tiny attacher, and I just staple the tops of the card so that there's no way that they can, fall out later. So this is just temporary. I'll pull that off at the end, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to make more changes. So here we're going on to the next page that I'm going to work on. And this is of a boat tour we took in the swamp, in the bayou. And you got to remember it's March, so there's not the flowers like there was on that postcard. Here's another postcard. They're both ones I bought while I was in Louisiana. I got that bayou postcard with the flowers because I know that that's what it looks like later in the year when things start blooming. I have this alligator paper, and it's got a texture and stuff to it. And it's really cool, but I just didn't like that coloring. It's just too springy green for me. So I thought, well, heck, I'll just spray it and play with it and see if I can turn it into a color that I like a little better. And I'm just going to use it for a filler card. So, and I have more of it. So if I mess this up, it's no big deal. And so I got those alcohol inks, but I wasn't sure how well they'd work. So I went and pulled a bunch of sprays as well. I've got some Lindy Stamp Gang and some Glimmer Mist there. And so I'm just going with anything that had greens and browns in it. And then I'm kind of drying it here in between. And because it's kind of a rubbery texture, the ink dried, kind of pooled up on the top of those scales. And so it gave a really neat look to it. And I tried some alcohol ink on here, but it was just pooling too much. It wasn't flowing between the scales like I wanted it to. So I just kind of blotted it a little bit, and I'm going to try a darker brown Lindy Stamp Gang on here. And it's got a little bit of copper in it. And I'm just using I think my sprayer on this one is clogged and I haven't cleaned it out. So I'm just using the tip of the sprayer just to get it to kind of soak in around the scales and darken it down. So that started looking a little better. I thought I'd go ahead and dry that up. You can see the copper color coming through a little bit. And then I put more green, a little bit of gold. And then I just used a baby wipe to dab a couple places so that the scales didn't have the dark colors on it. And then I just went over it with a little more green. And dry it up. So I really like the effect of how it turned out. And it just gives all the variation and color just is a little more realistic and a little more interesting. So I wind up doing it again to another piece for another page. But I'm going to just use it like that. And we knew, because it was early in the year and it was pretty cold while we were there, that we probably weren't going to see any alligators, just because, you know, they're cold-blooded. So it just wasn't warm enough for them to be out and about. But what we did see was gorgeous. I mean, the moss, Spanish moss, just dripping from the trees, and all the different birds and wildlife and people making their living out on the bayou was just really interesting and really beautiful. So we had a great time, even though our captain called for the alligators, because I guess they'll like take, I don't know, like raw chicken or something and try to lure them in. But nope, alligators weren't having it. So, and our captain too was Cajun, French Cajun, and his accent was so thick, man. I had a really hard time. I caught I think maybe 1 out of 4 words, but my sister-in-law's used to it, so she was like my interpreter. I'm like, what did he say? What did he say? So it was really neat to hear all the different accents and stuff. So here I am, kind of off camera there. I have a very, very old fleur-de-lis punch, one of those little tiny ones that I probably got at the dollar store back in the 90s, I think. And so I just wanted to cut some fleur-de-lis on the side of that. And I was having a little bit of a hard time getting it to cut, just because it's pretty thick cardstock. And then I decided I wanted to back it with some bling, so I'm just looking for some scraps that I can back the fleur-de-lis with. I wanted something kind of the same color because I wanted it to be, you know, subtle. So I'm just using this little leftovers from my die cuts, and I think I just take some washi tape to tape it back on there. And that chevron tape is also Recollections. It comes with the stripey. I think the stripe and the chevron come together in a package. It's a dark purple. It's really nice. I didn't really have very many purple supplies for this, so I've really been having to dig through. I do have some purple spray. I bought some of that Heidi Swap purple that was on sale, and so I could spray some stuff to make it purple. And here I am going through my little tags and stuff. Just want to add a little embellishment cluster to this card, because even with the fleur-de-lis, you know, it's just looking kind of plain. So those were some Evilicious tags from either Scraptastic or Cocoa Daisy. I'm not sure. I think Cocoa Daisy, because they usually put it in the glassine bags. So here I am just layering a few of those tags on there. And now I'm looking to see which colors I want to go where and what's going to show through to the other side, because sometimes I use the back of the cardstock and I mat my photo for one side and the other side on that same piece of cardstock. Other times I use two different mats, one for each side. So now I'm going to mat the actually, I think that one fills up the whole pocket, so I don't have to mat that one. I'm going to put my title on there, and I want it to say Swamp Tour. And I have these sparkly alphas because my thicker sparkle gold thickers are pretty much used up, or I can't make as many words out of them. So I had bought this pack, and they do not stick to the backing sheet. I mean, they're just like falling all over each other in there, and it was a little bit disappointed. What are these alpha chips by Me and My Big Ideas? But yeah, you can see they're kind of falling all over in there. They look fine at first, and then you pull the thing out and it's just chaos. So I'm pulling out my letters, and they started kind of sticking to each other and everything too, so it was kind of a pain. But I'll quit complaining now. So anyhow, I got my letter Swamp, and I'm just looking to see how big it is and about where it would be on the picture to be centered. And I start with my center letter and then build out from each side. That way I'm more likely to have it centered on the photo, although I'm not too much of a stickler when it comes to that. And then I'm going to center Tour on the bottom. And that's one thing that's nice about these photos, you know, because I couldn't zoom in or whatever. A lot of them have a lot of kind of white space or unused space that I can get away with, you know, putting my title and stuff right on there. And then this other picture of the boat captain and stuff is smaller, so I'm going to have to mat that on some cardstock. So here I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in those two pockets. So I think at this point I just put these little filler cards in here, and you know, purple, gold, and green, and I'm just going to leave it. Like I said, I started by getting all my pictures in there, and then my second thing is to kind of mat them all, and then I go back and decorate. If I get stuck, I'm just going to mat them, and that's it. So I still have these tokens, and they're Louisiana themed, so I got to use them all on this project. So I looked at that, but I thought, no, it kind of got lost. Maybe I should save it for a filler card or somewhere where it could be appreciated a little more. And so I think this is where I stop. And so thank you so much for watching, and be looking for part 3. And I'll just keep filming sections of this, and I will do a final flip through at the very end. So thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any comments or anything, just leave them below. Thank you. Bye.